Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today we have a big development coming out of Tshwane, where police recently caught 34 foreign nationals who were found to be living in South Africa illegally. This has once again brought the issue of undocumented immigration back into the spotlight, and it has raised questions about law enforcement, border control, and how communities are dealing with the rising number of undocumented people. Make sure you watch until the end so you can see the sources and try to verify this news for yourself. And before we dive deeper, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss updates like this. According to reports, Tshwane Metro Police together with other law enforcement units conducted a targeted operation in parts of the city where they suspected a number of undocumented individuals were living. During this sweep, they managed to arrest 34 foreign nationals who could not produce the proper documentation to prove they were allowed to be in South Africa legally. They were taken into custody and will now face the law through immigration processes, with some possibly facing deportation if found guilty of breaking the country's immigration regulations. This is not the first time such a crackdown has taken place. Over the past few months, there have been several operations carried out in Gauteng, KwaZulu-Natal, and the Western Cape where police, sometimes assisted by Home Affairs inspectors, have been working to identify individuals who do not have legal permits to stay in the country. The Tshwane arrests just add to the growing number of people being caught up in this wave of enforcement. For local communities, this news has sparked mixed reactions. Some residents in Tshwane expressed relief, saying that they have been calling for action for years because they felt overwhelmed by the presence of undocumented foreigners in their neighborhoods. They argue that undocumented people often end up competing for scarce resources, including housing, water, healthcare, and jobs. Others, however, point out that the real issue lies in the government's failure to manage immigration properly. They believe that simply arresting and deporting people will not solve the root causes of the problem. The matter of jobs is one that has been hotly debated. Many South Africans argue that undocumented foreign nationals sometimes take jobs that locals could be doing, particularly in industries like construction, hospitality, farming, and security. Employers often prefer undocumented workers because they can pay them less and avoid following labor laws. On the other hand, some employers say they hire foreigners because they are willing to do work that South Africans might reject. It's a tricky conversation, and it highlights how complex the problem really is. When police conduct these operations, there are also human rights concerns raised. Activists often point out that not all foreign nationals who get arrested are necessarily criminals. Some are genuine asylum seekers or refugees who may not have been able to finalize their paperwork due to backlogs at the Department of Home Affairs. South Africa's asylum system has long been criticized for inefficiency, with thousands of applications stuck in the system for years. For those people, getting caught in raids like the one in Tshwane feels like punishment for the government's own delays. Still, police argue that the law is the law, and everyone has to follow it. If someone is in the country without the right papers, they are breaking the Immigration Act, and the police are obligated to enforce it. They stress that operations like these are not aimed at targeting foreigners for the sake of it, but rather at maintaining order and upholding South African laws. It's also worth noting that such operations are often politically sensitive. With unemployment at high levels and service delivery challenges in many communities, undocumented immigration has become a hot-button issue. Political groups and civic organizations sometimes use it to mobilize support, arguing that government is not doing enough to protect South African citizens' rights and opportunities. The Tshwane arrests, therefore, are not just about 34 people being caught, but about a much larger debate taking place across the country. The arrested individuals are expected to appear in court soon, where the Department of Home Affairs will likely take part in the proceedings. Depending on the court's decisions, some of them might be deported to their countries of origin, while others could be detained for longer if their cases require further investigation. These processes often take time, and they don't always move quickly, especially when multiple departments are involved. This entire situation also highlights the importance of regional cooperation. South Africa shares borders with several countries, and cross-border movement is a reality of life. While some people cross legally for work, study, or family reasons, others cross illegally due to poverty, conflict, or lack of opportunities back home. Unless governments across the region work together to improve conditions and create legal pathways for migration, South Africa will continue facing these kinds of challenges. As we follow this case, it is important to balance empathy with the rule of law. On one hand, South Africans deserve jobs, safety, and proper service delivery. On the other hand, many undocumented people are simply trying to survive. Finding the middle ground will not be easy, but is necessary if the country is to move forward. So, what do you think? Should the police continue these kinds of operations, or should the government focus more on fixing the immigration system itself? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future updates like this one. Before I wrap up, here's a little light joke to balance things out. They say foreigners are caught because they couldn't produce papers. But maybe some were just looking for a printer that actually works in South Africa, because we all know how rare those can be. And if the police ever raid my house, they might find me living illegally under a mountain of unpaid Eskom bills instead. On a serious note, though, this is a matter that will keep drawing public attention, and will continue to bring you verified updates. All images used are for illustration purposes only. News sources: Sowetan Live, IOL, News 24.